Hi, my name is Susan Weimer, and I'm here with a video for Picket Studio Stamps. And we will be making this card using the Like a Crafty Fox stamp set. And yes, I did pull out a paper crimper. I'll explain more later. I was really going for a more rustic look, and so I decided to do it this way. Here's our supplies for the day: Like a Crafty Fox from Picket Studios, and I'm going to use that side fox over there, the girl that's in the middle. I have some speckled cardstock, which I will link you to below. It's pretty close to W+9's oatmeal. I have some craft cardstock, some Nina, the Timeless One tags from W+9, my wonderful trusty Misty. I can't do anything about it. And that is my 15-year-old Crimper. Might be older than that. Shh. So first thing I'm going to do is stamp the fox onto some Nina Solar White, and then I'm going to color in. First, I should say I'm sorry about all the noise that's going on in the background. It's raining very heavily here. It's just been one of those days. So I started off to use YR04, YR18, and E19. It's what I typically use for foxes, but it was a little too bright, so I'm going to go overboard and color this way too many times. And the little quarter moon thingies that you see on the other side are I drew some leaves and thought maybe I would color them in, but I didn't use them. So this fox is really drawn in a storybook illustration style, and I think it would have looked really cute had I only colored part of her in. Lydia Fiedler's been using that style with several stamp sets, but it's another one of the Picket Studio stamp sets. I need to learn how to do that. I think it might work better with watercolor. But at any rate, what ends up happening here is that I am going to think that this is too vibrant, and to go with my rustic look, which I'm into at the moment. And I'm going to go over this and over this and over this again. But the good thing to note here is that I am using Nina Solar White, 80-pound smooth cardstock. This cardstock can hold a lot of ink, a lot. I have another card going where I am having to heavily layer things up, but it's they're much bigger focal point. Anyway, so none of this bled, despite the fact that there are reds in all of these colors, and the red is the most likely color to bleed in Copic. So I was relieved that none of that happened here, and that none of my markers splooged, and I actually had fun coloring. And I've learned a lot. I learned something every single time I color. And by the way, I'm recording this on day 1 of the coloring challenge. So right now I'm using R20 to try to get back some of those highlights without taking the red away from her. And then I'm going to use W0, W3, and W5, I think, on her tail. Oh, and BG72 is my favorite eyeshadow color, because I realize she's a rustic fox, but come on, who doesn't wear eyeshadow? All right, well, sometimes I go grocery shopping without it, I admit. So I'm going to give her that little bit of a silver tail. And that's what's great about this image, is that there is room for you to decide where you want to put colors or not put them. And I could have changed this up completely. I'm adding a little bit of the gray tones to her face and to her ears, just to sort of tie it all together. And I'm adding some more BG72. And then I think that was, what was that? I think we're going in with E99 now. Yeah, I can't stop. So it is the coloring challenge. So I'm coloring in the nooks and crannies with my Prismacolor black pencil. I don't know the number of it. And just putting that in there. So I've taken this and I've cut it out by hand. The dies are coming out, I think, this month for this image. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But anyways, I use a white Jelly Roll pen to cover the edges. Now here's the Crimper, and here's me. I can't figure it out. I almost broke it. It fell apart. It fell in half. And it really is 15 years old. more than that. It has to be more than that. So when Dawn used hers, I saw the video on the weekend, and I jumped into my craft closet in my crafty room and pulled mine out. It was a deep dive, very, very deep dive. But anyway, so what I learned is that you need to put the paper in through the front of the crimper. So and now I'm distressing it a little bit with white unicorn pigment ink, which Dawn also did in her video. So I like to give a shout out to people whose ideas I have been inspired by or basically blatantly copied, which is this case. So I'm going to use the speckle paper again, and I'm going to cut out what the largest of the timeless tags dies and stamp on the sentiment, "I only howl for you." This will be my next card that I use the next time I do a little bit too much crafty shopping. And anyway, so I've stamping this a couple times because this paper is, it's textured in a way that's, it's not like watercolor. It's more like a recycled paper, but it's not that either. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it looks stunning with watercolor paper on top of it. It's what I use as the backer for that. So here's the other sentiment, like a crafty fox. I was going to use that. And I do have, so I'm leaving all of these in to say that I do have other cards made with this stamp set. So I figured, why not? If I have my Misty out, I have my my stamp set out, why not stamp some other sentiments, and then I can use them on these other cards that I'm coloring, and because I adore this set. Plus, while I was doing this, my husband walked into my room. He was working from home. He never does that. He shows up probably 7:30, 8 o'clock every day, and he was working from home that day, came into my room. I screamed, jumped out of my chair, and jarred the camera big time. So I was going to put "for Fox's sake" on the card and then put that into his room. Oh, one more point about the crimper, because, sorry, I digress. You need to cut it longer than the standard size for the card front, which in this case is 4.25, right? Or is it 5.5? I think it's 4.25. But anyway, so always remember that you need to cut your paper a little bit longer, and then you can trim it off at the edges later. I'm using some Lawn Fawn lawn trimmings, which is still available, so I found that out, and I will hook that up in my blog post. And I'm just putting on some of my Tombow Mono Dots adhesive, the permanent. That's what I use. Then I have some Scotch foam tape here for my little fox, and she has just received some crafty packages in the mail, and she couldn't get to the door quick enough because her husband was home working. And so, of course, he said, "Are all these packages for you?" And she very innocently looked at him and said, "But I only howl for you." So there's the reason for me choosing to use that sentiment. Plus, I like the look with the tag on there. So I do sometimes get a lot of crafty boxes, and I think you should have cards for just those occasions. Like the one time I came home, I'd been traveling with my mom, and piled up on the fireplace were 7 or 8 boxes at least, and I'd only been gone 4 days. And my husband said, "What is all of this?" I don't know. So I scooted off down to my craft room with it. But anyway, he's been married to me long enough that he knows. So of course I have to do my sequin thing. But then I got to try out the Gina K Connect Glue. I was at a crafty retreat, and Gina K gave each one of us a tube of this. This stuff really is the bomb. It is my new favorite. I know you hear that from everybody, but it's true. This stuff is awesome. It's thick, comes out of the point. It doesn't smudge. I just love it. So I'll be getting more. And there's our card for today. Thank you for being here with me. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And I'd love it if you joined my YouTube channel. Thank you. Have a great day.